Hello there, Level 4 Health and Wellbeing students. This is an introduction to your cultural communications paper, and this is the presentation I'm just going to talk over, which we've done in class, but let's open it up. So resources and presentations, there we go. And this is the PowerPoint we're going to use in class, but you can see here there are lots of more little YouTube clips that you can look at as well to make sense of it. Okay, opening up this PowerPoint. Da-da-da. Come on, slow coach. Always go to present so you can have a real nice big, culture. Okay. What is culture? We do seem to streamline culture just to individuals, whether they're religion or their ethnicity or the color of their skin, the race, but it's not. It's much broader than that. So I'm going to need you to stop and think about some of the questions that I ask by pressing pause, and then obviously play again to carry on. It's a very small topic, but it's it's my favorite topic. Okay, so what I would be doing in class right now is getting you all into groups to actually use the joy of the internet and to research the four different headings. They are ethnicity, race, religion, and then culture. Now, some of these things overlap one another, and yes, they do. Yes, they do. So that's where it can get a little bit confusing. But you've got to think of all of these things here, ethnicity, race, religion, actually all do involve culture habits, okay? But there are lots more things broader that is also a culture, that is not a religion, not a race, and not your ethnicity as well. Culture can include your personal traditions or your family's traditions. Your traditions are not necessarily everybody else's traditions. Your habits, you might have certain habits that all your family have, and they're good habits, bad habits, it doesn't matter, but they're part of your culture and it's what makes you an individual. Culture is not said in here with race or religion, ethnicity. It's your arts. It doesn't mean just basically drawing. Arts can be to do with like dance, to do, oh gosh, I'm a little bit stuck. All the different types of arts: dance, visual, expressive, acting, theatrical. Okay, so it's not just drawing a picture. So there's many and many traits that we have which comes under the culture umbrella. Okay, because you could be a Christian, you also could be of a distinctive race, like Maori, maybe. I don't know, just totally putting it out there. And your ethnicity, you may have actually been born in the Pacific Islands. Okay, so all of these added together include under culture. I would hate you to say, I went into a client and their culture was Catholic. Now, that's just a religion. There's more to that person than just Catholic. If they are Catholic, so to speak, what cultural traditional thoughts come around to that you have to change and adapt to be able to give the best cares for that client? Okay. How about ethnicity? So this again is not just where you were born, okay? It's to do with where your family was brought up. You might be of an Asian ethnicity, but actually born in New Zealand. So we've got to make sure we do not get completely confused with just because that person looks like that, they have to be from A, B, or C. No, not at all. So what I want you to do, I sort of given you an overview to say, this is broad, it's bigger than just one word. I want you just to stop this recording and to literally type into the internet, what does ethnicity mean? What is race? What is religion? And what is culture? And you will see how they intertwine. Okay, so culture is massive. Culture is huge. You have individual cultures, and some cultures have more headings than others. Off you go. Stop this and off you go. Have a little look into. All right, so now you've got an idea of culture, ethnicity, race. There's some pictures here we're going to go through, and I will get you doing this in a group in class, but you can do it at home as well. We're going to look at these pictures. You're going to stop and press pause, and you're going to reflect on what do you think is their culture? How can you adapt? How can you learn to get involved and to communicate to make sure that you're accepted within their culture? Okay. So there's two completely different cultures here. If you want to stop and press pause and just using the visual image, not knowing the people, have a think of the types of culture and then we will reflect on that. Press pause now. Cool. So I hope you had a little bit of think of it. So this culture is getting family together. This culture is getting family together. This culture is getting family and friends of all different ages together, having maybe a social drink and all watching a similar activity, whether it's football, rugby, cricket, tennis, it's a sport. Or it could even be watching something like New Zealand's Top Model. I don't know, but that's a culture where they like to get together and focus on one area so they can celebrate in tune. This culture is very family orientated. Again, it's where they all believe in the same religion and they all want to pray in their faith to a specific religion, as you can see there. And it's individual culture. So, right, let's pretend. I just want you to get you thinking. You have your own culture and beliefs, and it doesn't matter. You're going to walk into, where's my mouse? Oh, let's go back. You're going to walk into this room. How will you address and communicate with these people? Because you need to walk past these people to go and look after their elderly father that's sitting in a nice quiet room that is possibly quite bedridden, and you need to go and do your kiss for this particular person. How are you going to adapt your communication style with them? You walk into this house, you've knocked on the door, let's say, and they've said come in, or you've normally used to just walking in, and you've just popped your head around the door and you've seen them doing this. How would you adapt your communication style? What would you do? Basically, as well, mannerisms that, because you need to get past these guys to go and help an elderly person in another room as well. So your presentation here to here and your attitudes and your communication skills and your patience and your waiting will be completely different expressions on yourself. So you feel that they're respecting you and you are definitely respecting them. Next page, have a look. Okay. Both love music. Brilliant. But hey, what do you think is in the background? How do you think this one's going to be compared to this one? Same with culture here, socializing. They're both socializing, they're both consuming. One is here around a table where they share food and appreciate food, and it's very traditional in certain cultures here. Whereas this one's going outside to a bar, having cocktails and drinking alcoholic drinks. Different culture again, okay? If you invite someone for a drink and they say no, it doesn't matter so much. You'll say, I'll catch up again. Here, if they're sitting around a table and they're offering you food, it's actually within their culture that you accept, okay? It's a bit rude not to accept. Different types of culture. These are actually both ways of exercising and opening your minds, okay? Some people want to get on the rugby pitch and have it out and go as hard as possible and feel good about it. They will watch it on TV and get in there, be really passionate. Same thing that helps your mind and frees your spirit. This is a type of exercise where the person is just relaxed, meditation. It is still a form of exercise. How are you going to adapt to these cultures if someone offers it to you or talks about it or wants to include you into their culture to help communication get better? Start thinking about all these different types of cultures. In class, this is what we would be doing. We'd write down some cultures, which will include people types of religions, their sports, their hobbies, lifestyles, and interests. Okay, we'd make sure we get communicating with everyone in the class. I want you to probably ask your family, your friends, text them if you're at home. Say, hey, what would you say is a traditional culture for you? What would you say is in your lifestyle which you feel is really valuable to you? That if someone really loved you or became part of your life, you would want them to like it too. Yep. Have a ask around. Then I want you to pick a culture you are unfamiliar with, really unfamiliar. You don't know hardly anything about it because it's not wildly around in New Zealand. So have a think of something you know nothing about, and then maybe research 3 things you could use to gain common ground. This could be a language, a food, some history to do with where they were brought up, possibly, their jobs. I don't know. You're going to think of a really unfamiliar culture. Discuss, oh yeah, so really we need to be in class for this, but you can talk to people on text, on video call, with a few colleagues. This will mean you learn more from what they choose. That's incorrect spelling. Also, give input if you know any more. Cool. And the last one, what we would get you doing as a little bit of a background tool is pick two cultures of origin, brainstorm any rules or respective traits you would have to learn to be able to give your best case. So if you were going in to look for someone of heavily of an Indian culture, you need to find out which Indian culture it is. Is it Hinduism? Is it Muslim? Is it Sikh? Whatever it might be. And then what sort of rules do they have that you need to adapt to and learn if you're going into their home? Or even if they're in the rest home, there are certain things that are taboo that you need to learn so you just don't go in and embarrass them. Neat. Okay, Maori culture. This is where we have a lot of fun in class and we'll get pulling on you guys. Things that are completely a no-no. Putting feet, what has been on the floor, on bums, what you wipe your bottom with when going to the toilet, putting them on places of where you would eat is a totally no-no. It's unethical. It's inhygienic rather. It's a complete taboo no-no. No sitting on the tables. Whereas in other cultures, and I know in the UK, when I used to go to school, we would sit on the desks until the teacher came and then go and sit on the chair. Thinking about it now, that's absolutely gross. Um, of course, not putting shoes on the table, I think that's a no brainer, but hey, it all depends how you're brought up. This is a great one. Definitely, and I'm pretty sure it's a little bit of common sense, but sometimes it's not. Putting any urinal products on a bedside table or on any sort of table, whether they're clean, empty, brand spanking new, and not being used, you still do not put them on any place that that person will be consuming or any foods. Have a little talk about it and talk about other things in the Maori culture. There's way more than this. Okay, probably taking shoes off before you go into a house, whatever it might be, not washing somebody's hair. Just have a think about it and start discussing it. And then you can identify it with some of your clients possibly. Here's some great videos to get you used to some Maori words. Have a read, have a watch, get into it, start learning the songs. It helps with body parts, it helps with greetings, and it helps with colours, which might help you communicate with some of your clients. Again, here, please click on the links here. Try and get the pronunciations. Have a bit of fun. I would bring someone up in class to teach the rest of the class, and I think it's fantastic. All right, appropriate, not appropriate communication. Your face says it all. Facial emotions show so much communication. You know, if you're putting a smile on your face and you're looking open ended, you are giving a good communication vibe for that client to make you wanted and needed to go into their space. If you are looking at a form of disgust and grumpy and angry, how do you think that client's going to feel? So there are certain facial emotions that you will have to practice, no matter even if you're unhappy, just to make that client feel special. We call it acting. That's what we call it. But acting's okay because at the end of the day, you want the best for that client. Okay, I just put them all up here. Hand gestures, touch, got to be careful with that. Your movement, maybe they have Parkinson's and they expect you to be a little bit more calm, a little bit more smooth. If you've got a bit of barrier or deafness or language barrier, pictures. Technology is fantastic to translation. If you've got someone again of a different language, use your iPhone and get a translation so you can get keywords. That will make that client feel at rest. So we would get you now in class doing some of these communication techniques, and you have to identify on how you feel when that person is doing some acting around some of these techniques. Okay. Hand gestures are fantastic. So you can actually ask the person, is okay, what areas hurts, just by pointing, thumbs up, all sorts. Cool, I told you it was a quick one, but it's much more fun in class because we get loads of cultural aspects. So I really hope we don't have to do this online. So you're going to find three examples where you have gone in to see a client and you have seen that their cultural needs is different to yours. And because you can see how valuable their cultural needs are, you're going to research their culture, you're going to adapt and change, not yourself, just possibly your cares, so you can give the best cares to that client. Now, if you do that, you will notice that there will be a receptive and they will actually open up more, trust you more, and their needs will be met. If you do not try to learn, research, and adapt to their cultures, I'm not saying you to change, I'm saying you to learn. If you do not do this, you're always going to have a barrier, and your tasks with that client will always be a lot harder. And what sort of well being is that client getting because you cannot be bothered to adapt to their culture? When you go in and see a client in a rest home, you might only be with them 10 to 15 minutes. How hard is that to you to start looking into that person? And as well as when you're going into their home, you can actually, when they go into someone's home, you can actually just look on the walls, look at their ornaments, look at some pictures. That can identify the type of culture that person is. Maybe that person was a builder for all his life, okay, and now he's literally on the bed, unable to really move. You could find a way of him being able to talk to you about things that he's done in the past. What if they were a train driver? They love talking about trains. You could put some trains up on YouTube. You could ask them what type of trains they are, communication needs. You could be asking all this while you're doing their cares. Okay, you have created a massive bond if so. So think of three things. Remember that culture is broad and big. So think of three cultures that you've adapted to. It does not have to be ethnicity or language or religion. It's massive, it's broad. Okay, so start really thinking about it. Then you're going to pick one of those examples and you are going to use a reflection tool that is also in the next presentation. Okay, learn what the Gibbs reflective cycle is. There are 6 headings that you have to follow. And in those headings, it tells you what you need to write about. And what you're writing about will be referred to your first, one of your examples that you feel is, an appropriate example. I hope this makes sense, guys. If not, you email me, ring me, whatever it takes to make it make sense. And I really hope this is in class. If it's not in class, get on FaceTime with your student buddies and discuss it that way. Facebook Messenger, whatever it takes. All right. Or even involve your family. Yeah, do that. That's even better. Cool. Have fun. Oh, try say.